Hello and welcome. My name is Kelly Kingston and I am your host for the Business Today show. Today with me, I have brought all the way from America, Maryland's Ash Shukla. Ash is the CEO and founder of Financial Chakras, and Ash is known for the nickname Ash is Cash. Ash is also put him in a very, very unique situation in the wellness holistic industry as the holistic business consultant. Please give a round of applause to Ash Shukla.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining me. I do believe it's 4 a.m. where you are right now.
It is 4 a.m. where I am right now.
And thank you so much for getting up for this interview. I really appreciate it.
You're so welcome, my friend.
That's good. So my first question for you, Ash, is how did you get started in business?
It was actually in the financial industry initially in 1994, which was an accident for me. But then eventually, I grew up in the financial world, and then in 2004, I decided to exit the banking world, and then I decided to start my own in 2004. And but go ahead.
Okay, and when you got started in business, I know we've had a little bit of a chat about how you actually got started, but you only got started with $20. Do you want to tell that story? I'd love for everybody to hear how a very successful man like yourself moved from one country all the way across the other side of the world and started his business with $20.
Yeah, so I basically originally came here from India with me and my parents and my brother, and we all had $20 each basically, and we have had our humble beginnings, right? So we as a normal person who comes to or goes to any other part of the world to start their life over, it was a basic initial hustle. And then as time went on, we went ahead and decided to, obviously I was going to college and stuff like that. But I literally went into the financial world, and I said to myself, okay, now what do I do? And I said, okay, I wanted to really, dive into that world. And I stumbled a lot, and I would go on appointments, and I couldn't close any deals for like 6 years or so. I was struggling quite a bit. I couldn't, like I would get home and my dad would ask me, so, what happened today? And I was excited, or I might have tried to close a sale, and basically I would say, well, it was great. The appointment was fantastic, and the fact of the matter was, I didn't get any money that day. So eventually that gets old. And then I had to figure it out. I started investing, thankfully, in self-help in like 1994 when I was 21. And because of that, it literally turned my business around over time. So that's pretty much my humble beginnings. I would go on appointments, I would go on networking, I would try to meet new people, like I would try to prospect on the streets, I would try to prospect on cold calling, I would try to do phone calls, cold phone calls, I would do walk-ins, I would do kind of all kinds of stuff, to really get it going, basically. But that was my humble beginnings of the game.
So doing cold calling, we all know now in business that it's really not the easiest job in the world. So what kept you inspired to wanting to, keep trying, keep continuing, keep pushing through for those other businesses that are out there that are struggling at this particular point in time, what inspiration or what advice could you give them?
So, when you're pushing through it, you're pushing through it, right? No matter what it is. So, like, a lot of times, some people call it tenacity. So for the polite words, some people call it more of determination. In my case, it was more stubbornness that I had to make it. That was it. That was the end of that, conversation. So I had decided that I was going to do it, and that was that. That was no other. Nobody was. Obviously, people were telling me like, your family, your XYZ brother is doing this study, and the other brother is doing that study, and this, that, and the other. And us being Indians, some of them are doctors, and some of them are in the other fields into, quote unquote 9 to 5 jobs, and I just wasn't into it. And I think that when you determine and when you are focused on your destiny, whatever that is, you just have to let others, just kind of like fall by the wayside, and that would be the most important piece there, is to know that you are on a different path, and you are really on a journey, and you are on a growth journey like none other. So, when 2 years later, when they look back and they go, wait, we thought we were doing better, but in reality, when you are a business owner, entrepreneur, really trying to grow, and you're going through the trenches and going through the motions, yeah, you are actually doing better than everybody else. It's just a matter of time, and you have to let time to determine, who is the winner of the race. And I think that that reminds me of the story of the turtle and the hare. They always say turtle wins the game. But what if you were the hare and you just kept on running and you did not stop? I mean, you would beat turtle any day of the year. So if the people around you are turtles, and they believe that they can win, it just depends. It depends on what kind of hare you are. Are you really the hare who is going to stop every second when somebody says to you, you cannot make it, or are you just going to keep on running? The choice is yours, because your ability, that's your gift. Your gift is to run fast and figure out ways that nobody else can, versus turtle who walks a straight line and that's all they do. So that's what I have learned over time. That, and then people look back and go, wow, they envy you, and they go, wow, we envy you. But no, you were not there 20 years ago when I was on the streets, when I was going to all my Indian families that I know in the around here, and doing appointments after appointments after appointments, and 2 and 3 of them a day, spending 6 to 10 hours, going on appointments, trying to put on seminars, and nothing was working. When that was all happening, nobody was there. So I would say, determination is important, and yes, be stubborn. It's okay to be stubborn. Stubborn is a good thing, and it's not a bad thing. And as long as you're flexible enough to change your moves as you're moving along and you're on a growth path, it's okay. That would be my advice.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So you've been in the corporate world for a long time, and you have also been in your own business with Financial Chakras, which I'll get you to talk to us a little bit more about shortly. Can you tell us about the corporate world, and what was one of the golden nuggets that you can take away from being in the corporate world? That's my first question.
Golden nuggets in the corporate world?
Yeah.
That's a big question mark, but okay.
Just the first thing that comes to you.
Don't work there. That's the first thing that comes to me. Don't work there. No, just kidding. But no, I think that it has its perks. I think that it does have its place, and culturally, like if you're aligned with that world, it's nothing wrong with that, right? So I think that it's just all about alignment. Wasn't it, Ben? It just Uh, Depends on whether you're aligned with the corporate world or you're aligned with the business world. I think that if you're working in the corporate world and you enjoy that job, it's at the end it boils down to, do you love what you do, right? So, and as long as you love what you do, it's okay. You know, if you don't love what you do, then it's a problem. I'm sorry, I just woke up, so um,
Sorry to
so
get you out of bed so early.
yeah, it's okay. So the thing is that the thing is that in the corporate world, you do learn certain things. You do learn some disciplines. You have, if you really have good bosses and you have good coworkers around you, it does have a good culture around you. I mean, I'll tell you, like one of the banks I used to work for, the boss over there really taught me a lot of things. A lot of good values that he taught me in terms of like communication, in terms of closing the sales, in terms of, like, so he did walk me through some things that I think they were valuable. But overall, my personality does not allow me to, like stay there very long. It's just not my thing. I've learned over time that corporate world is not for me, period. Like it just, and it's not good or bad. It just is. So, if your personality aligns with that, that's great. Some people do really thrive in that world. I believe that I would have, done really well, and because I always like to go to the top of the chain wherever I am at, and I would have done really well. So if you're looking for competitiveness, if you're looking for peers, if you like a environment of a group, if you like sustainability or stability, like those are great things that a corporate environment provides. But in terms of the it just depends on who you are energetically. I think that's probably the most important thing there.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Ash. So now we're stepping out of the corporate world and you're creating your own business, the Financial Chakras. You have written a book. So tell us a little bit more about your book.
So the book, basically Financial Chakras, as it comes out, it's about how do you measure your potential in dollars. Because until now, potential has been talked about as this infinite thing that, you have infinite potential, which is actually true. But what's even more true, because that infinity, you cannot see the word infinite. Like you cannot picture in the word infinite. You can picture a word, a pen. You can picture a word, a cup of tea, right? But you cannot picture a word infinite. So it becomes very difficult in your mind. How do you measure that? So, Financial Chakras is about measuring your potential in today's, as of today, you're measuring your potential in dollars and measuring your emotions in dollars to get there. And then what I have done inside the book is I've taken chakras, and for the first time, I'm coming up with a rule that helps the world, helps everybody to make the decision, to get to their destinations faster. So a lot of times it's all what I found as I'm writing the book is that it's not about what you know, but it's what you don't know. And in terms of your gap between where you want to be to where you are to where you want to be, and if you want to get to your destination, it's all about the speed. So the speed and in which you are moving forward, is it determines your ultimate potential as to how far you're going to go in life. Like I was listening to somebody said earlier, I believe yesterday, and he says if you really take a look at, like, if you just brush your teeth, that's a month and a half of month and a half or more out of your life, right? And if you take a look at so in human beings are really living, by the time you look at how many hours you sleep and you do other things, you really live only about 25 years. I don't know this as a
Wow.
yeah. So it's in reality, the time is really short, and most people don't realize. So Financial Chakras, the book itself, is about helping you reach your potential at its maximum. Of course, we're talking about some financial principles in there, but it's all about alignment. It's all about creating the maximization of from where you are to where you want to be.
So Ash, you didn't mention what the name of your book is.
I said Financial Chakras.
Okay, what about the first one?
Okay, so the first book I wrote was Sell Like Crazy, because that was all about helping like entrepreneurs and business owners really understand attraction marketing and how do you attract new clients. So what I found is that many times, as I was kind of struggling first 6 7 years of my business, I was struggling, and part of the reasoning I was struggling is because I was I nobody taught me really like in terms of how do you attract clients towards me. I was really repelling them in multiple ways. So what I learned over time is that a systematic process to attract clients towards me, and the book is all about showing you all the pitfalls and all the journey, the entire journey that I took from beginning to the end, including when I finally figured out my way of closing business, and I'm talking like 6 and 7 figure businesses, everything per transaction. So that's what Sell Like Crazy is all about.
Thank you, Ash.
Yeah,
So,
and those of you who
sorry?
have watched, Facebook Live, if you like this so far, go here at the bottom, and I would love to hear from you, your comment about, what is it that you would like to learn, more about, whether it's a sales or whether it's a financial chakras. If you guys like to learn more, or if you have some questions, go ahead and start typing, and we would love to answer them.
Absolutely. We'd love to answer anyone's questions about how they're going in business, where they're struggling, their pitfalls, or anything. So just add some comments, and I can read them out to Ash. He's more than happy to share his ideas and advice, and yeah, that's the whole reason for the show. Businesses supporting businesses so that they can thrive and be sustainable. So Ash, my next question is, when did you know that you wanted to be a holistic business consultant?
Okay, so I've been a business consultant since about, I would say, 2008. I've been like I was doing financial services, and then I got into the speaking and the training world in 2008, and eventually but I was doing it more like I didn't even know initially that I was doing consulting. It just happened, that I was taking business owners and things like that, and taking them to the next level, if you will. So the questioning was as to what am I going to do going forward, because I really wanted to make an impact in a community, and question was which one. So I could have gone into the financial services industry, but I decided that instead of doing that, it's better to go into the holistic community. So for about 2 years or so, I kind of and plus my book even Sell Like Crazy, I wrote about chakras and how do you use them and energies and all of that, and that was done in 2012. So I was pretty much moving in that direction, and me being Indian, that just kind of spoke to me basically. So I would say for a little bit now that I've been serving the holistic community.
Thank you, Ash. That's a really cool advice, and supporting businesses is what you're about. Like, yeah. I know that you've got a summit coming up, and you have got some amazing speakers amongst yourself. Can you share us a little bit more about what that summit's all about, please?
Yeah, so the summit, basically, in this particular summit, I'm actually helping a client of mine, honestly. Like, so the reason I put together the summit is to, help help my clients in a positive manner. The goal of the summit is to drive traffic into the wellness center that I am actually, serving right now. The last time we did the summit, we had about 500 plus people, counting online and live in person. So the summit is about helping small business also get promoted in small businesses. So we had about 6-7 speakers there, this particular summit, and the goal was to help them get promoted and help them promote their business, and help them really get out there into the community, which they may or may not have the chance to. Just kind of like what you're doing, except at a little bigger scale. So that's the purpose of the summit, and it's called 2020 Small Biz, a speaker summit. That's what it's called. So I just had it because of I really had it because of my client, but then it turned out to be that everybody benefited, from that.
That is very, very cool, Ash. I think what you're doing over in America is really, really phenomenal. Supporting small businesses, especially the wellness holistic industry. Yeah, very, very cool. So could you please share with me what your biggest struggle in business has been to date, please?
Yeah, I think the biggest struggle, the initial years, when I was really, getting it going was the toughest part, because, that's when you have all the negativity and all the people around you who are telling you that you cannot do it. And, why are you struggling? Why are you, going against the wall? Look at this person, look at that person. They're beginning to compare you. And, they keep on psychologically beating you up. And I think that's probably very difficult, subconsciously, probably more than consciously, because honestly, like, I just kept on going forward and I didn't care. But to some degree, it did matter. And I think at some point in time, I made up my mind that I'm going to make more money than everybody combined on a yearly basis. That was my goal. And that was, and that's basically, like, to some degree, it has been a determining force. But I'm relentless in that, and I'm getting there very close.
You are very relentless, aren't you?
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
so what advice could you give to anyone that's in the holistic wellness industry that has been in business, let's say for about 6 to 12 months? They're struggling, they're about to throw the towel in and say, this is just too much, it's too hard, I'm going to just forget everything and close shop. What advice would you give somebody that's in that position? And just remember, the statistics here in Australia are 1 in 65 each year fail in business in the holistic wellness industry. So we have a huge percentage that just throw the towel in. So what advice, as a successful business person that's supporting people in business, yourself, what advice could you give them?
I mean, I would say that, when you're looking at, when you think about in business, the odds, right, for you to succeed, and when people tell you that you only have XYZ percentage of odds in business to succeed, in reality of the matter is, it's all about you, right? It's all about your determination, and it's all about your inner driving force. Where are you going to let others affect you in a negative way? Or are you just going to keep finding ways to going forward? So at the end of the day, whether you're a holistic business owner or you're not, either way, especially if you're a holistic business owner and you are having traumatic effect, because a lot of the holistic business owners come from that, some sort of trauma, whether it's physical trauma or spiritual trauma or emotional trauma and things of that nature. So if that is the case, number one, don't worry about it. Don't let fear or anxiety really stop you, because those things are not real. Like yesterday, I did a live on fear, and if fear is your driving force and you constantly are cautious. So I'll give you an example. Like 2 weeks ago, I run a holistic chamber of commerce in Columbia, Maryland. So I'm a president of that, and as I was going through as I was having this meeting, and I told people that I wanted to have I bought a domain for a holistic, conference, and basically I was telling them that I wanted to have that in about 2 months, and they all started freaking out and going, okay, how is that going to work? and because part of the reasoning was fear keeps on creeping in, and they go, how is it going to work? What's going to happen? How are we going to make it work? But I think a lot of times, you really don't know where you're going to fail and where you're going to succeed. So I think at the end of the day, you just have to take a shot at whatever it is that you believe that is the right path to go, and then find your journey in between and enjoy your journey while you're on that path. I think that it's important for us to make sure that we are enjoying the path. And if you are constantly coming from a place of fear, so I said fear, to overcome fear, I think that if you are coming from that place of fear and anxiety, the way to overcome fear is number one, I said, give a fear, instead of, running away from it, give it a big hug. And that was my step number one formula to overcoming fear. So if you're coming from a fearful place, just turn around and literally just give your fear a hug. And then you give it a big fat kiss and say, "Mwah, I love you." And then that would literally freak out your fear. That was my step number one to help you overcome fear, is to freak your fear out. And how you do that is give it a hug and a kiss. And then third thing, so now the fear is dead stopped and it's away. And then the next step you can take is, by thanking your fear, say, thank you for making me stronger, and I really, really appreciate you. And then once all that is done and it's completely paralyzed, you can push it over the edge by taking one step forward in your life and moving fear out of the way. And that's the way I described how to overcome fear, just so you know.
That is very cool. I've never heard it being, described that way, where people, how people can actually overcome fear. That's very, very good. So my next question is, what is your hairy, audacious goal for 2020?
Okay, so I am okay. So fine. So I think that there are some people who want to share, like, really in terms of goal is concerned. I would say my goal is to launch my Financial Chakras book, which I've been wanting to do for a while, and it's finally coming to fruition. And I would say in March I'm going to do that. I'm having webinars starting basically this coming week, where once a week I'm going to do like a free webinars, making sure the consistency is there. And the goal of this year is to launch a Financial Chakras book, and launch my Financial Chakras like event, in a successful manner. And I think that is going to take a life of its own, because I'm doing research and stuff like that. As I'm talking to people, I'm finding out that it's much bigger than I think it is. So I have not put a dollar figure on it. Like many people say, I want to, make X, Y, Z and this, that, and the other. I really haven't done that. My whole goal is to launch my book, make sure it's successful, make sure that I can get Amazon and New York Times bestseller titles, doing that. So I said that is my hairy, audacious goal, is to make sure that the book is a Amazon and New York Times bestseller. But more importantly, making sure that I can serve as many people as I can throughout the year. And my number right now that comes to me, I want to serve at least a couple of thousand people this year, using my Financial Chakras book. So that's my goal.
That's an impressive goal. That's awesome. Now, this is going to be an interesting question. In business, a lot of people do try to do marketing without consulting a marketing expert, and then try to do sales without consulting in a sales expert. What do you think is more important in business from a small business perspective, marketing or sales?
So are you saying that there are people who are thinking that sales is more important than marketing?
What I'm saying is there's some people that think marketing is more important than sales, and then there's some other people that think that sales is more important than marketing. From your perspective, being in small business and talking to a lot of small business people, what advice are you giving them? Are you giving them that marketing is more important, or is sales more important?
I think they really go hand in hand, but like if you really are struggling to have just depends on what stage of business you're in. So I think that if you're in the stage of business where you are struggling to generate cash flow, then sales is more important, because you got to learn how to. A lot of times, like, marketing is great and you can get more people into the door, but if you don't know how to bring it to fruition, that's the problem. So you got to be able to generate revenue. That's an important piece of you have to ask yourself, why are you doing the activity you are doing, whether it's marketing or sales? Why are you doing what you're doing? And if the goal, the answer is usually to help somebody, and you cannot help somebody until you have finished out the deal, right? So it's not really a help if you haven't closed the deal yet. So that being said, I think it's important for you to learn both. It's not one or the other, but sales definitely helps you to jumpstart your business, to get you consistent revenue, to making sure that you have enough revenue to invest into marketing. I think that investing into marketing is important, but if you don't have any money, you can't invest. It's like an airplane, right? When a plane is going down, you got to put on the mask first, so before you help somebody else. And in this case, it's the same thing, where you have to put on the mask. And I think they both go hand in hand, but it just depends on what stage of the business you're in. If you are already a stabilized business where you're making certain amount of revenue every month and you know that, then I think marketing becomes more important. But if you're in the beginning stage where you're just trying to get it going and you're just trying to like make a couple of dollars, then sales becomes crucial, because you are in a desperation mode. And if you start investing irrationally into marketing, then what happens is you even go further in the hole and you become more desperate, essentially. So I think that it's a hand in hand. Just depends on what stage of business you really are in, and that's what I find it to be, most important for most people.
So, thank you, Ash. So a lot of people haven't got a business plan. A lot of people don't have a sales plan or a marketing plan. What is your advice to them if they have none of these three?
So if they don't have a business plan, a sales plan, or a marketing plan, they can call Ash Shukla, just so you know. Or they can call Kelly Kingston, okay? One of us,
So they can, I'll just get us back on the script. They can call me for the business plan and they can call you for the sales and marketing plans.
I like that idea. I would go with that. There you go.
Very cool. So that's a very good answer. I like that answer a lot, Ash.
Thank you. I think we both like that answer.
We have covered you starting off in business with $20, working in the banking industry, starting your business, Financial Chakras, your first book, Selling Like Crazy, which people can buy from your website. The second book that's coming out very soon, Financial Chakras, which I know that you're very excited about. You also have a seminar coming up that I didn't get the full name of the seminar, so if you could repeat that, that would be amazing.
So basically the summit I'm doing, is that what you're talking about, just to be clear?
Yeah, no, the summit with the other 7 ladies to support another lady at the wellness business.
Yeah, so it's called 2020 Small Biz Summit.
2020 Small Business Summit. And if anybody wanted to pop on that summit, if they were in Australia or somewhere else in the world, how do they go about that?
That's a fantastic question. So the number one, they can friend request me. I'll accept that friend request back. And then we are streaming it live on Facebook. So you are able to interact with us right on Facebook. So if you're all over the world, no big deal. You can always join us on Facebook. You will this time around. This was my first time I did this. I've done it before, but for this particular, for all intensive purposes, for this round is my first round. So for the next time, which will be the last Friday in February. So it will be February. In this case, it will be February 24th. So on February 24th, when I have this again, no wait, oh no, February, I believe it's 28th if I'm not mistaken.
We can post the link at the bottom of the video so you can let everybody know.
Yeah, that's perfect. So it's the last Friday of the month. So next last Friday of the month, I'm gonna host it again. And those of you who would like to watch it live stream, and we are also going to be streaming it on YouTube and LinkedIn. And this time we're going to do something different, where we are also going to have more of a panelist, because I found that you can fit more people in a shorter time span when you have a little bit of a panelist. I'm actually going to divvy up the panelists. So I might have like a book, and a publisher, right? So it's like one set of panelists, that kind of thing. And I might like divvy it up into a couple of different groups. And I think that's gonna get interesting, but we'll see. But
that is awesome.
Yeah, so we always host those on last Friday of the month, and it's from 8 to 12 or 8 to 1 Eastern Time, United States.
Okay, thank you. So you just said that you're going to be hosting it live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So there's 3 social media platforms. For anyone starting in business, which one do you think that they should use first and why?
That's a great question. So I think that if you're looking to make sales, like where you're looking to, it's okay. I'll give you an example. Like if you're in the MLM industry or direct sales, definitely Facebook. Just go going live on Facebook. I know a lot of people who have gone live on Facebook in multiple ways. What I found is that a lot of the people who you want to recruit hang out on Facebook. If you are looking at a traditional business where you just have consulting business or something of that nature, I say LinkedIn. When it comes to LinkedIn and YouTube, probably one a good choice of references there. But I find that it depends on which business you are in, and especially if you are in the business of network marketing, direct sales, multi-level marketing, whatever that may be. Facebook is probably a primary source to start with. Then you can graduate yourself into the LinkedIn and other platforms. But I think it's a great platform, because you can do things just so easily on Facebook, and it's so much more accessible. Because a lot of times LinkedIn Live, you really have to request it to go LinkedIn Live. LinkedIn Live is not available to everybody as far as I know. So I think that it becomes a little bit harder, and LinkedIn is more professional network. So like if you're looking to go sell to professional network, obviously LinkedIn wins the game. If you're looking to make consulting or coaching sales, where you're talking about any ticket item that's about a couple of thousand or more, LinkedIn makes more sense. It's not then, because Facebook is more items that are less than certain dollar amount. So it really is a it's different, like in terms of that concern. So that's why I would say that MLM, direct sales, multi-level marketing, whatever you want to call it, doesn't really matter. But that's Facebook for sure. And if you are in the higher ticket items, start moving towards LinkedIn is a better platform.
Thank you, Ash.
Mm-hmm.
You're a very wise man, aren't you, Ash Shukla?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So,
you are the same, just so you know.
Pardon?
You are the same, just so you know.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So, have you got any last words of advice or wisdom that you would like to share with our viewers on our Today show that has really pushed you when you get out of bed every single morning and you put your feet on the ground? Has there been one thing that always keeps you going, or does that change?
you know, I'm moving just because I want to. I think that it has never been a drag for me ever. For since I was a kid, I pretty much do whatever I want to do. And what I feel is the right thing to do. That has been my thing since I think since I was born to a good degree. So I think that it is if you are in a business where you are struggling and you are really not aligned, it's gonna make it very difficult. I think that you have to learn to love yourself and accept yourself first, with who you are, regardless of all the flaws. I mean, I have a lot of issues, like my wife will tell you more than anybody else. But even my parents, like, they know that, right? So I think that from that being said, that you have to learn to accept who you are, and you have to learn to accept that there are mistakes that are going to be. Just accept, the fact that you are going to face with a big monster called fear, and you are going to give it a hug and give it a kiss, and you say I love you and freak it out, and reverse the process. And I think that at the end of the day, sometimes if you're not doing any kind of some of you who might be struggling in business and just don't know what to do, my friend, listen, just be in alignment. Like, when things are in alignment with who you are, things will flow. Like, it will just be automatic. Like, I took a lady, she used to do an insurance, health insurance world. And as I was talking to her, I found out that she's a good writer, and I got her to the path of writing books and stuff like that. And she is absolutely loving her journey right now. And so, just so you know, I think that is important. The other thing is important is making sure you are meditating. This is my mala beads. I got these from a temple where a priest, basically they pray on them, and then that's how I get them. These are not, you cannot buy this on Alibaba.com, or you cannot buy this on eBay. You can only get this from Ash. So a lot of times, exactly. Whoop, whoop.
So
So
can
this
you
prayer,
can you show the tag up for me, please?
so it's got my name, it's got my info, and then in the back it's got this.
The fear elimination tool.
Yeah. So I am actually, giving this beads out for shipping and handling of $7. But needless to say, these prayer beads are important. So do you know the story behind prayer beads?
Uh, Not your story, no. Go ahead.
You don't know
Share.
my story, okay? So there was a guy in India, and all my stories have Indian people. Just so you know, I'm completely biased, okay? And I'm proud to admit that I'm biased, okay? So just so you know, like, there was a guy in India, and he's like, he was poor man, and he's like, I want to provide for my family and this, that, and the other. And he gets a lamp and he rubs it, and genie comes out, and genie says, hey, guess what, master, you get to ask me whatever you want, and my job is to give it to you whatever you want. And he says, oh, really? He's like, yeah, so I want a house, I want cars, I want money, I want the universe. So his genie says, okay, you got it, you got it, you got it, you got it. And then genie says, there was only one condition. The condition was, you had to keep asking. You had to keep asking for more in order for you to get more. So then this guy's like, well, I don't have anything to else to ask you. I asked you for the house, the cars, the universe, I have a great, family. Like, I have everything. So he's like, now what do I do? So he goes up in the Himalayan mountains, and he talks to the rishi, and the rishi says, well, why don't you go outside and outside of the cave, and tell genie to take 108-foot bamboo pole, stick it underground, and take the other 108-foot bamboo pole, stick it above ground, and your next wish is to have genie go up and down the bamboo pole for the rest of his life. And that was the wish, right? That was the wish that he made. And basically, genie is actually your mind. And to calm your mind down, it's scientifically proven that it takes 108 times for you to begin the process of calming your mind down. So that is the genie.
Wow.
Yeah. So genie is your mind, and genie is the ultimate, deciding factor. So in many times when you're doing a prayer beads, what they say is like, don't hold your prayer beads like this, and don't do this, because this is actually your fire finger. So you want to kind of hold prayer beads like these, because this is where your like a lot of times in Indian culture we will when we are doing what we call tika, we'll do it like this, right? We use this finger, and there's a reasoning behind that. But that being said, you want to manifest something, you do this, you say it every single time. In Indian culture, we pray to God or um, deity. But if you are not in the religious factor and you just are spiritual, it's a great idea to just kind of manifest one beat at a time. You manifest your goal, right? So whatever that is, and you go around one time. The way to use this prayer is you go around one time and then you flip it over and then you start again, right? So there's a reasoning why that happens, and when you do the circular motion, it really helps you quite a bit. And this prayer beads, I'm giving it out. It's on my website, by the way. So if anybody wants to get them, they're like $7, but they are actually really. I got them from a temple that's being built here in the United States. It's a 170 acre temple. They actually took the marbles from Italy, took it to India, hand carved it, pre-assembled it, and sent it here. And that's how prominent temple is going to be. It's going to be known as one of the largest Hindu temples in the world. And I get this prayer beads from that place. So if anybody's interested, they should definitely look at that. But meditation. If you're having a hard time meditating and just keeping your mind calm, this is actually a tool that automatically does that. Like I heard in one of your shows, Kelly, one person was talking about it's hard for them to meditate, and they were using different technique. I forgot the lady's name, but um, she so she does different things for herself, and it makes it struggling point. A lot of times when you close your mind and say imagine red, and then like I have a mind of like I can't I can't still sit still. It'll drive me crazy. So so I find that this is more helpful for me than it is. So I think as an entrepreneur, if you are the kind of person who is always on the go, or who likes to be in that space of go getter, I think it's
Yeah.
important to calm your mind down. And to do this, you can use this, and it'll help you focus. Like once you do it 2 times, your mind, you find your mind is at still state. When you do it 3 to 5 times, your mind is at a completely different zone, and you can ask whatever you want, and it just begins to manifest. It just happens. So that's one of the reasons when you told me like, hey, Ash, like, what's your big audacious goal? My whole thing is keeping it stabilized. That's important, because I'll go off like in places that most people can't even imagine. Like I went to Washington State. I did a speaking engagement in Washington State, which is 8.5 hour flight time. Okay, I flew here from 6:30 in the morning, got there at 11, stayed there all day, did my speaking engagement, and came back the same night. So non-stop. I'm talking like I came back the next morning, so it was like a non-stop without sleep, that kind of thing. So I tend to do that sometimes. It's good to have fun. But I
Yeah.
think that if you, yeah, it's good. It's important if you cannot wake up like to be able to love what you do. I think it's crucial.
We need to do things that really stretch us out of our comfort zone to be able to then know whether it was the right decision or whether you've made a connection in business to take you to that next level as well. Hey,
Yeah, it's I say comfort zone is dead zone.
dead zone, comfort zone. We don't want to stay in the comfort zone, do we, Ash?
No.
No. So, where can people find Ash's cash?
They can just go to ashescash.com, or they can go to ashshukla.com, and I humbly welcome them on my Facebook page, my business page, and my personal page. And so if they want to join my group, Financial Chakras, they're most welcome to join that, because it is an active group at this point. It's open to public, so I made it completely free for those who want to join. I have a private client group, but it's a separate group. So if you want to join Financial Chakras group where you're getting more wisdom, you're most welcome to come. But if you just type in Google Ash or Ash Shukla, you find me. It's really, really difficult not to find me. So.
Yeah, you just need to check out that picture where you've just gone. That's a really good photo of you on your Facebook page. It was like, I saw that a little while ago and I've gone, oh my gosh, that is so you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
That was at a wedding we went to. Me and my wife, we went to one of my friend's wedding.
Yeah.
And he had his glasses on, and they were like glowing glasses. There was one of those like a party glasses. So I'm like, okay. And that day I was just in the mood of just letting it go, and I was just having fun. I actually wore Indian kurta pajama, and I had flip flops at the bottom in the wedding. And she was shocked. She was like, his wife was shocked. She's like, you have flip flops, but that's what goes with the outfit. So I put a flip flops on it. She was like, wow, you should have been flip flops at my wedding.
It looked really good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, but anyway, so I enjoyed it. But anyway, so thank you for the interview. Really appreciate that.
Oh no, Ash, look, thank you so much for joining me and all our viewers this evening, or in America in the morning, because it's nearly 5 o'clock over there. We got you up very early this morning.
You did?
So I thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to joining the summit and seeing what good stuff you've got happening out of there, because I'm watching from a distance as we all do to support each other in business. So thank you so very, very much.
Thank you, okay?
No worries. Thank you all our viewers for joining us tonight. The Business Today show is brought to you by the Wellness Business Academy. I am your host, Kelly Kingston, and you have just heard from our special guest all the way from Maryland, America, Ash Shukla. Ash is Cash from Financial Chakras. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you another night. Bye for now.
Absolutely. Okay, bye-bye.